Yo, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Pnoid News, man. Listen, so I figured I'd make us a video, right? Because I'll be honest with you, a lot of people are kind of confused about what's going on, and we've been trying to stand here and figure this out ourselves, right? Because I'll be honest with you, there's not a lot of answers out here. There's just not, right? And so everybody's trying to figure what the fuck is going on right now. Well, here's the thing. You have a lot of people at the moment reaching for like religion and reaching for, institutions, right? They're standing here going like, man, listen, why is everything fucking collapsing? Like, what is the situation? So let me illuminate what's popping at the moment. All right. So at the second, we are missing this thing that's called culture, right? It's kind of a basic bitch type of thing, right? The end of the day, it's something that, you know, you don't really know you're missing until like, you just you fucking have it, right? That's kind of where we are at the second. And culture comes from like what you do. It's a very basic thing for human beings. It's kind of like your geography turns into culture. So like if you live in the forest, you're gonna be like a lumberjack. If you live, by the sea or by like water, you're probably going to be a fisherman, right? And like you'll have like a fisherman culture, right? You'll have a lumberjack culture. You're going to stand here and have a farming culture if you're going to farm, right? That's what you're going to have. The problem is though in America, we're trying to turn everybody into, what the British would stand here and call and have as a culture, right? It's kind of like a base. It's one of these things that we really don't have a comprehension for, right? In the end of the day, it's something that we don't understand because we don't really see it. But this comes from like our British roots, where you have everybody in Britain have what was known as a total state, right? And so basically what happened was is they eliminated all of the poles of power, including like community, your religion, your fucking geography, all these type of things, and try to turn everybody just into being British subjects. Right. But, that's a terrible way to live because, like, it eliminates all, like, the human aspects, the family, all these type of things. In America, it has turned into, after the Industrial Revolution, cubicle dwellers. Right. After you ended up having industry and manufacturing collapse, everybody turned into cubicle dwellers and they try to turn everybody into the same. And, when our schools needed industrial workers, they produced industrial workers. And now when they need cubicle dwellers, they produce cubicle dwellers. What is a good, like cubicle dweller? Well, I'll tell you, it's somebody who's not going to have kids, somebody who's not going to, really care about their culture, their gender, like how they live. All they give a shit is whether or not they can buy high value added goods and be able to show up to work every day and not have to do a whole lot. It's kind of a basic thing, you know what I'm saying? Now, we as a people used to have cultures, right? We used to have things and festivals and like participate in community events and stuff that, we have no idea we even lost, right? We used to have all these type of things. It's kind of a crazy thing to understand, right? But these things are what made you you, right? Like when you didn't have anything else, you could go, man, listen, like, I'm Dutch or I'm Italian or like, I'm Calabrian, I'm like, whatever, right? But we don't really have this in America. It's why, like, when people go, like, what are you? I go, I'm Appalachian, right? Because it really kind of, it's a deeper thing in the end of the day. Like, it really is. It's something that's, it's something that ties you to like who you are. Now, the thing is, right, and how we ended up getting here is we ended up having like a lot of success, right? And this really actually didn't have a whole lot to do with any type of real policies or anything like that. Truth of the matter is, we were always going to be successful. You know what I'm saying? Just because like of our geography, right? And I'm going to explain that right now. Now, see, Americans think they're fucking exceptional. Truth is, you live in an exceptional place. All right. This is Fortress Americana. All right. And I'm going to break this down because I sat here and made this map here a little bit ago. Right. So to the north of us, we have what are known as polar bears. Right. Basically, you have the same amount of people living in Canada as living like, I don't know, like fucking PA. Right. Yeah. below us, we have what's known as desert dwelling, disorganized, weak motherfuckers, right? These are people who really never got their shit together. You know, what I mean, they're very separate. I'll be honest, Mexico should probably be about like 7 different countries in the end of the day. They'd be much better off that way because it could end up like actually organizing. But because, Spanish and Aztecs, everybody just made Mexico into Mexico. Just they're like, listen, we're gonna share our poverty together. It's dumb. On our east and west side, we have fish as neighbors. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you notice, fish tend not to invade the land. It tends to be how it works. Okay. On each side of our country, north, south, well, south, east, and west, not the north. The north is polar bears. All of these, they have massive amounts of natural deep water ports. We actually have more natural deep water ports than all of the rest of the world combined. Fucking crazy. We also have barrier islands that go the whole way around the East Coast and the Carolinas. And what ends up happening is that creates an inland or like a river network on the outside that you can move things from one place to another very easily, not get lost and not lose a lot of things. And it's sheltered from tons of storms and problems. Crazy, right? Then the middle of the country, you have the best piece of arable farmland in the world. Also, a little north of that, a little east of that, a little south of that, a little fucking, then down to the southeast. Again, we have more arable fucking farmland than the rest of the fucking world. We also have more navigable waterways in our fucking country than the rest of the world combined. Crazy, right? I wrote world largest rivers, just the most amount of rivers. We also have inland seas, right? In the north, which allows us to be able to move goods very, very easily. It actually costs about 1/12 the cost to float something on the water than it does on the move it on land. And we still move things on land because we're fucking dumb, right? Also, more deep sea port, and also down below us, we also have the Gulf of Mexico, which again is a giant deep sea puddle for us to play in. And by the way, that has oil in it and fish and produces a lot of transportation ability for us. And then on top of that, there's oil in Texas and in the North Dakotas and the Appalachians and the Midwest, right? There's oil everywhere, right? And then there's massive amounts of minerals, and then we have a giant ass desert, right? Which we can, just go and test weapons and do whatever the fuck we want with. And then we have mountain barriers on each side of like the nice part in the middle. And then there's Piedmont, all on the outside, which allows for, tons of, transportation and, geography to be able to build into. We have the greatest geography in the fucking world. Okay. Nobody can touch us. We're completely isolated. It's, it has the ability to produce everything we'll ever fucking need. And we don't need anybody else. And in doing so, like having that baseline of like having the ability like to build, your farming and your agriculture and your industry and your, your mineral wealth and all that type of stuff to export, it allows you to have a whole lot of ability to build stuff on top of that. Because all societies, I don't give a shit if it's Egypt, I don't care if it's Britain, I don't care if it's Rome, it's all begins in farming, right? It all begins with the land. Because the land is where you actually produce all your wealth from, right? And like you can go, oh, listen, you produce wealth by, standing here creating something that everybody else wants. Yeah, shut the fuck up, you're dumb, right? How you produce wealth, right? Real shit is taking something out of the ground, turning it into something else, and then selling it to somebody. That is the baseline for all wealth in the country. Everything else is built off of that. Because without eating, without the baseline of being able to feed yourself, and the baseline of being able to like produce crops, and baseline without being able to transfer stuff, you're not going to be able to stand here and have anything the fuck else. That's why it is in every society when you end up having your farmland collapse, you end up having a collapse of your society. Basic, right? And so in having this, we've been winning, right? Just as a whole, right? We have been like winning constantly, and winning kind of has a quality all of its own. So, all right, let me show you somebody, right? Because this is somebody you guys probably don't know, because you're not football guys. This is Rex Grossman. He went to a fucking Super Bowl, all right? Rex Grossman was one of the most trash quarterbacks in the history of the fucking world. But he went to a Super Bowl, and nobody bitches about him. And he's remembered well because he went to a Super Bowl. Because winning, all right, has a quality all of its own. Basic. Now, everybody nowadays is reaching for these things they call religion, right? As I said, y'all call them religions. I don't fucking call them religions at this point. I think they're kind of trash. But like the reason why you're doing this is because religion, right? What it does and what it serves for human beings is to organize your culture. So you have your culture to begin with, I mean, whether it be, like you're, a Iberian person, I mean, where like you're a woods person, whether you're a mountain person, whether you're a farming person, whether you're, I mean, like a fishing person, whether, I mean, you're a metropolitan person, whatever the case is, you'll have your culture, okay? And you'll have celebrations with parts of those cultures because you'll have things that happen on a regular basis, whether it be maybe you be born or harvest comes in or, I mean, the harvest goes out or, I mean, like it's winter time and it's a solstice and, it's time to plant or full moon festivals or whatever it is, baseline being fucking human, right? Because like human beings, we actually live on um, a planet, right? And we eat and we poop and we fuck and we make children and we don't make children and like bad things happen and good things happen and we react to those and we like to share our experiences with other human beings because we are social animals, right? And so like you'll have this before you end up with a religion, okay? Now these religions end up organizing your culture. So like what ends up happening is religion, I mean, is formed or a religion comes in, you're conquered by a people and you're, I mean, given a religion, right? Forced into religion, as it were with most of Christianity. Um, and what ends up happening is, I mean, like that religion will end up being like a part of all those cultural celebrations. So you'll have like a harvest festival, i.e., things like Thanksgiving, right? Christmas, trying to think here. Like like Easter in the springtime, right? Like all of these things were pagan religions. And when I say pagan, I don't mean like, like bad or anything like that. Just pagan just means rural, right? They were rural customs to begin with, right? They were days that were celebrated because like, something happened on the earth, right? And they tend to be celebrated, and that's why like Easter's near, I mean, the or the spring solstice, right? I'm trying to think here, man. Listen, so Thanksgiving is around the fall solstice, right? Or and no, I'm trying to think here. What is it? Oh, Christmas is around the winter solstice. There used to be summer celebrations, but we got rid of all those. Even today, like in a lot of communities during the summer, you'll end up having, I mean, like May days or summer days, or you have like festivals for when certain crops come in. Watermelon festival. We used to have strawberry festivals, and usually thrown at a church, right? Because churches and religions organize your culture, right? And that's where like you go to, I mean, like meet other people of your ilk and be social, right? So it ends up becoming a cultural center. But, I mean, it is not your culture. Your culture is some baseline shit. But we traded away all of our culture and didn't notice it because we were winning, right? I mean, again, winning kind of has a quality all of its own. But we threw away all the things that made us humans, right? I mean, like for instance, it used to be you went to church every week and it had like dual purposes. It wasn't just like to go to church, it was a check in, right? And you find out the news of the town. You're like, oh, somebody had a new baby, somebody, they got married, somebody, I mean, died, or whatever the case is. And like these are like how like you stayed connected to your community and you found out about community projects and you found out about art things. And this is how all this stuff worked, right? So like all these things tie into just being a basic ass human. But we got rid of all of them because like we had the ability to produce so much stuff that we didn't really have to actually have, you know, any of the cultural things. We could take care of ourselves and provide for our children without being a part of a community and be completely fucking isolated. Now, a lot of people think that, like, there's, I'm gonna tell you what, folks, it's the Illuminati out here trying to kill you, whatever. Right? It's not what it is. Okay, it's not. It's not the interdimensional space demons. They smell like sulfur. It's none of that shit. Right? It's not how the fuck any of that works. Right? What it is that you know we were very very successful, and in being very very successful, okay, um, we ended up having to deal with the problems of being too successful. I mean, they were like, listen, we're gonna end up eating ourselves to death because like we're gonna have too many fucking people, right? I mean, like that was an idea in the '70s because like that had a massive baby boom. I mean, like 20 years before that, like oh my god, what are we gonna do with all these people? Everybody react to it. Mao Zedong react, China react to it, U.S. react to it, Europe react to it. Everybody had that same mentality. Like there's too many of us, right? We don't know what we're gonna do because technology hadn't caught up yet. When technology caught up, I mean, we produced massive amounts of more food. We had tons of more industry. And you know, I mean, things continued on, but then we had a problem of, man, listen, we have massive amounts of inflation and stagflation and all these type of things. Well, here's what we're gonna do: we're gonna bring in a ton of immigrants. We're gonna do this type of stuff. We're gonna end up forcing down the labor costs. You know, what I mean, we're gonna give these returns back to the people. But I'll tell you what we're gonna do: we're gonna tell the boomers, hey, look, you know, you guys go and spend. You go spend your fucking money, all right? And as long as you know, kick some back into your fucking 401k plans, we'll make sure you're taken care of, and you're, you know, what I mean, you'll be able to retire. That was the agreement they made with the boomers, and they did that, right? And it ended up causing massive amounts of problem for us because like they have now we have all this technology that's like fucking all of us up because like they're like, listen, technology good, you know, GDP number go up, right? And that's all the fuck they give a shit about, right? In the end of the day, is GDP number are going to fuck up. That's all. That's it. That's all you can do, right? And that's where we are. And so today we're looking at all the things that we have at the moment and we're trying to figure out what to do, right? Everybody's reaching for something. And I mean, but the truth of the matter is what you should be fucking reaching for as a whole is some basic stuff like your land. This is hard for liberals to understand. This is very, very hard for Americans to comprehend because for 100 years we've gotten accustomed to just, you know, hey, look, I'm not cool with where I am. I'll just go elsewhere. But that's bad. That's actually not a good thing. It shouldn't be, hey, look, you should move, right? Because that is how progress is done, right? If things are going bad in your area, you should just get the fuck out of there and go somewhere the hell else. That's bad. That's not how things work. If a population is decreasing, right, there's a reason for it. It's because, like, the people have decided that there are too many fucking human beings and they don't want to have more. It's not some master plan or master race thing. It's because, like, hey, look, you know, they're at the level where like they don't feel comfortable producing more children, and that's an okay thing. It doesn't mean you should pump them full of more people to go, hey, that GDP number needs to keep going up. Your labor rate's getting too expensive. We're humans. You're supposed to be attached to the land, and you're supposed to be attached to like the people around you. You're supposed to be loved. You're supposed to be cared for. You're supposed to be more than a number. You're not your fucking khakis. You bleed like everybody else does. It's that simple. And that's kind of where we're at is these people you think are evil, these people you think are like bad, they're just people who are judging things by a metric. And they don't know any other way. It's kind of that basic, man. It's that simple. They just don't know any other way of doing things than what they're doing. This is what they've been taught. And eventually it's going to come down to a war between us and them. I know where I'll stand. I'll stand on the side of love and humanity. The authoritarians and the people who want to continue to drive this bitch forward, they're going to be on the other side of this. I'm Tom Pease with Pnoid News. Y'all know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm the fuck up out of here. Later.